Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast. We're on your United show today, Devil's Advocate, and today we are joined by a whole host of guests here today. But first of all, I am joined here by Mr. Shane Dowley, where this is our first ever pre-match show, and we are here to basically to build up to Manchester United versus West Ham in the Premier League. Massive game in terms of the race to the top four. Obviously, right now in the Premier League, the North London Derby, the Battle of Mid-Table is also on at the moment. So, obviously we all have our eyes on that game as well. Lovely Rabona goal scored by Eric Lamela.
Speaking of that, Arsenal just got a penalty, actually, just as you said that, I think.
Oh, stop. Lovely. Happy days. Happy days. Come on, Arsenal, get that penalty. But anyway, we're here to talk. We're not here to talk about Arsenal. We're not here to talk about Tottenham, them two clubs. We're here to talk about Manchester United today. Now, obviously, the team lineups won't be out for another couple of minutes. And so, before we kind of get to team lineups and kind of start 11 predictions or whatever, first of all, we're actually going to obviously just talk about, the recent news that came out last night. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looks like is going to be getting a new contract this season. Looks like it's going to be a 3-year contract. For me, we heard that the news was kind of leaked a couple of days ago, but it looks like that news now is going to become more official. And it's going to be imminent kind of in the coming days. Look, for me, before I come to Shane on it, I think my thoughts on the contract situation with Ollie, I think we seen what happened 2 years ago when we gave him the job on a permanent basis, with a couple of months to go, and it kind of, it kind of went downhill from there. And for me, I'm not opposed to him getting a new contract because we've showed progress this year in terms of our league position. I'm not opposed to the new contract. What I am opposed to is the timing. 2-1 Arsenal. The timing of the contract is what I'm kind of opposed to. It's kind of premature because in the next kind of 7 days, we could end up out of both competitions, club competitions, and we could, if we get a bad result today, the season could be, nearly over at that stage. We could be in a really bad race of top four and we're out of both cups. So for me, I think the timing of the new contract is kind of, it's just weird, just considering there's still a lot to play for this season. And, I know it's probably not going to happen now, especially with Tottenham losing there now, but finishing outside the top four could have been a possibility. So, I suppose that's my take on it in terms of the new contract situation. It's just the timing. I'm not opposed to the new contract because, we've showed progress this season. I think if we continue to show that progress, finish second and win a trophy, absolutely, by all means, give the man a new contract. He absolutely deserves it. But it's just the timing of it. By no means am I Ollie out, so I don't want anybody twisting my words saying I'm Ollie out. But what I am saying is just that the timing of the new contract is just weird, just considering what stage of the season we are. And we've been here before in terms of giving the manager a permanent contract kind of at that time, at this stage of the season. Shane, when obviously I texted you last night when the news kind of broke by the Mirror last night that Ollie was getting a new contract, kind of when you first heard that, kind of, I suppose, what were your initial thoughts?
It's pretty much the same as you, that it's a little premature. Just wait till the season's over. Let's just see how the next few months play out. Because, like you said, after the PSG game, he got the full-time job, and then he was followed up with a really poor run of form. Just wait till the end of the season, see how the next few months go. If he gets top four, I think he's doing enough to not be sacked anyway. So you give him, he will get the new job anyway. Do you know what I mean? But just say, like you were saying, if we get knocked out of the cups and we collapse and don't get top four, I mean, you have to let him go then. And if you're after giving him a
big payout, then
it'd be silly to give him a contract and then sack a few months later. That's saying I do think we will get top four. I'm not surprised he's getting a new deal. You know my views on Ollie. I like Ollie. I think he's a brilliant manager. I think in terms of how we want to play, I think he has the right ideas. But I do think as a coach, he struggles to put them ideas into effect and apply them to how the team actually plays on the pitch. But he's done it. He's doing better than I thought he was. Do you know, like when we went on that poor run form after PSG, I really didn't think we were going to recover. Do you know what I mean? How that season ended and how we started the following season then to finish third last year and then to be second at the moment. So he is doing better than I thought. He's doing just enough. Like he is what he is. You know, I like him. I understand his shortcomings. I just think what we need to do now, like Poch is gone, so like if you asked me if we are to sack Ollie, and if you asked me who I'd want to replace him, I wouldn't really know. Like Poch, I was really big advocate of Poch. I wanted Poch to replace. Poch is gone now, and then when I see people say sack Ollie and get this guy, everyone they recommend, I'm kind of like, really, like I'm not too pushed. Maybe it's because I haven't watched enough of that said manager's teams. I'm just not that big a fan. Do you know what I mean? And I also think like the players are a real big fan of him, that if he was to leave, it could do more harm than good because the players are really behind him. So he's, you know, I'm not surprised he's getting a new contract. I just don't see the rush because it's not as if he's out of contract in the summer and he'll go off and join another club.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just the timing. I think the timing part for me is kind of is where kind of I'm. It's just the timing for me. I think just when you consider how long's left in the season, and you consider like we're coming towards probably our biggest week of the season so far. When you consider obviously West Ham, which is a team who's like in the ticket things for top four, we've the second leg against AC Milan, which is going to be a very tough game, and we've Leicester in the FA Cup. So like 3 very, very tough games, and you're giving them a new contract on the back of that. Like, you know. It's risky business considering what happened 2 years ago. I think that's what's all in the back of Manchester United's fans' minds at the moment. Now, obviously, there's a section of United fans who are just religiously Ollie out, and like no matter what he does, he could win the league, he could win the treble, and they'd still want him out. You know, like there's just that section of the fan base.
United fans are weird. You know, like there's some that enjoy the team losing because it proves a point, and there's others that are like more happy about Ollie getting a new contract because it annoys the fans that are Ollie out more so than Ollie actually getting a new contract. You know, it's
the support Manchester United guys. The support Manchester United is a simple thing. Like the support your club, regardless of who is in charge. This is the badge you support. That's what you support. You know,
a funny thing. Like I love
personal agendas.
I love running off an agenda just as much as the next guy, but some people go too far, like, you know, it's nuts. Like,
yeah, it absolutely is. What we're going to do now, everyone, is we're going to bring another guest into the live stream now. We're going to bring in Rach from our all women show, Three Devils and a Gunner. So we're going to bring Rach in now. So there we go. Rach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good now, very good. All excited now for today's game.
Definitely.
Rich, rumours coming out today that Marcus Rashford looks like to be in the matchday squad today. And even though like it was massively mooted that he wasn't going to be in the team today, Ollie basically played down that he was even going to be fit for AC Milan on Thursday. How are you feeling about that news kind of coming out that Marcus Rashford is in the squad today, considering the injury crisis that we kind of have at the moment?
I'm a little bit disappointed if he's not fully fit, and I don't personally think he is because he's got a lot of issues anyway, and this is just another issue that he's piling onto his back, his shoulder, now his ankle. So if he is physically like fully fit, then fair play, go for it. You know in yourself if you're fit, but it's when a player's not fully fit for me and they still start just because it's Marcus Rashford. That shouldn't matter. If the player's not 100% and fully fit, it'll just hinder him going forward. But we saw this last season with his back injury, and he said he was just playing through it. And it's the exact same thing with Lindelof as well. he's playing through it as well.
Pogba last year as well.
Exactly. So there seems to be a trend going along, and surely the players' long-term health and well-being should be the main priority here, because Rashford, it's not like he's coming to the end of his career. He's only a young lad. So if he's 100% fit, then fine, go out there and prove everyone that you're fit. But if you're not, then for me, he shouldn't be even in the squad. He should be getting a rest.
And like when you consider, obviously, Amad Diallo was a player who played fantastically well against AC Milan, got his first goal, and I think like me and Shane have been driving this Amad Diallo agenda since like the moment he signed last August. We've been saying he's like the second coming of Jesus. I think we were nearly pushing that like since August. But like he played fantastically well against AC Milan. Looks like now he's going to be dropped to the bench for, let's say, even the 40 or 50% Marcus Rashford. Considering the running we have, like I think for me I think you maybe even, I don't think you start Rashford today. I think you bring him off the bench if needed, if it's a crisis point situation. But I think Amad Diallo done enough to justify just getting a starting place today.
At most, I think. At most, he comes on like if he's needed. Like part of me thinks Ollie's learned his lesson, but part of me thinks he fucking wants the 3 points. Like, you know, so
don't we all?
Yeah. But I don't know. Like,
I think it's just one of them things. Like when you look at it,
he did try it in the reverse fixture against West Ham, where he left Rashford and Bruno on the bench, and we were 1-0 down, and they had to come on, you know. So I don't know. I can't imagine him starting, like, because it's such a close call whether he's fit or not. That like it's such a close call whether he's fit or not. That he's obviously not going to be 100% fit. So I think at the most he will be on the bench, but hopefully he doesn't need to come on.
Yeah, it's one of them things because like, he's such a good player, and he like when Rashford's on his day, like I think like he said, I don't think there's a left midfield player in the Premier League that touches him. Probably either Mane or Heung-min Son. I think when you look at Marcus Rashford on form, I don't think there's a winger better than him in the Premier League. Now people can maybe argue, you know, there's other wingers out there, but for me, I think Marcus Rashford on his day is top quality.
Yeah, I love him, man. He's a fucking brilliant player.
He really is. And like I said before, he's still so young as well. He's still got so much to learn. Sometimes his decision making drives me up the wall, but like he's a young lad. But you can tell that he's got what it takes. But he just needs to improve his decision making in the final third just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And there's just rumours there out there now, just literally just breaking it there now before we bring the lads in. Apparently Marcus Rashford is going to be starting. Just from what I've just been on my little witch hunt here on Twitter, and I was refreshing my feed, and they're saying like the lineup hasn't been announced yet, but they're saying Marcus Rashford is going to start. So that's
do you know
like we've just been saying there.
If he starts risky. And he gets injured again, everything I said in the opening few minutes about Ollie getting a new contract, scrap it, man. If he fucking gets injured again, I feel.
Like it's one. It's
apparently Lamella's been sent off as well in the derby.
My stream is behind now. You have to spoil it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, red card for Lamella.
Fucking like obviously. To be fair to Ollie, he's obviously when that situation happens and the player's picked up an knock or whatever, you're obviously going to go to the player and say, "Are you okay?" But the player is obviously going to say, "Yeah," because the players want to play. Do you know what I mean? The players don't want to be leaving their friends down and the manager down, so they're going to say that they're okay to play. So you can't really trust the player, you know. But yeah, just seeing him getting the red there actually. But I think it was Rio said a while ago. He's like, players are rarely fit. Like you're never really fully fit when you're playing in the league. That there's always like you're always nursing some injury or knock, that you're getting injections or whatever, you know. But man, I don't know. I struggle to believe that he's okay to start, you know.
Especially
I really don't believe he is like.
Yeah, I think it's a big risk, to be honest. I think there's no need. Like, just start him on the bench, and if you're really that desperate, leave him have 20 minutes to try and salvage something. But to start from the off, I think is worrying.
It's risky. But the thing about this is, guys, like he could score a goal literally in the first 10, 15 minutes, skin a couple of players, and we'd be saying, Jesus, that's a masterstroke by Ollie. Ollie in, give him that contact. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hindsight's 2020, like, but
we
it's
could have
just
one of
such
them
a fucking, it's such a risky thing. Like the thing with Pogba last year was so, like, that really pissed me off because it was mad. Like, was it Rochdale? He was injured. When was it? He was injured against Arsenal, I think, and he played through injury against Arsenal. Then he started Pogba against Rochdale, played 120 minutes against Rochdale, was it? And then he aggravated his injury. I think I might have them games the wrong way around, but I remember he played a game through injury, and then he played the next game, and then he just aggravated his injury, and then he was gone for 6 months. You know, so you'd imagine
absolutely,
yeah. Especially like because Pogba looks like he's gone.
That's the thing. That's the risk.
The rest of the month, like, you know,
that's the risk comes. Like you play a player who has already has a lot of niggles. Like he has a back injury, shoulder injury.
Like it's a catch-22.
An ankle. Like
it's a catch-22 because like we don't really have the squad depth to be like, all right, he has a knock, I'll leave him out of the team. All right, sorry, he has a knock and I'll leave him out of the team because you don't really have the squad depth to bring in a replacement. But then because we don't have the squad depth to bring in a replacement, that if you do risk him when he's carrying injury and then he aggravates it, then he's gone for 6 months. Like you're without a replacement for 6 months. You know what I mean? So like it's obviously tough, especially when you're coming, like we're in the run in now to the end of the season. So you're going to be taking risks, but I don't know, man. Like fair enough if you wanted to risk him off the bench, but the starting is a bit mad. Like.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's risky when you're playing from the start, especially in a high intensity game where West Ham are going to be like chomping at the bit. Especially now with Spurs losing, West Ham are going to they're going to go for broke here in this game. Mm-hmm. They should anyway. They really they'll put pressure on top four, especially with Chelsea dropping points, Liverpool not playing until tomorrow, Leicester winning today. Like this is a massive game for West Ham. Not only just for Manchester United, but for West Ham United too. This is a massive game to make a statement in the top four race.
So, like, if we won today, how many points? We could go, 6 points clear of 5th place, could we? If we win today.
I think so.
How many points are we ahead right now? I was going to check.
We were 4 ahead of Chelsea, I think. And then they drew yesterday, so that's 3. So if we won today, it would be 6 clear Chelsea, but I don't know if West Ham
table now. I'll check the table there now. So, Manchester United.
Go on.
Chelsea drew yesterday, so there's really no need to start him. You know, I know it's not a good mentality to have that. Like Chelsea drew yesterday, so like really get the win today. But then it's like Chelsea drew yesterday, so if we did drop points today, it's obviously not good, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, you know.
Especially, I think with Leicester
we'd be treated like if we lose today,
I'd be fuming.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm getting angry now because I can tell in the first 20 minutes he's going to have to go off injured. Like, no.
Just one of them things. Yeah, like if West Ham win today, they go 3 points behind us. So, like, look, I suppose from our point of view, you need it's must not lose rather than must win. I suppose at this point in time, like I think you come out with the game with something today. You have to. People are saying Arsenal. Yeah, exactly. Like we still have to play Spurs and Leicester as well this season. We still have to play Liverpool. So we play a lot of teams that are in this race.
Yeah.
Now look, they're shit. To mind them, they're fucking good. I'm just kind of waiting out. The signups are going to be announced there within the next couple of minutes. So what I'm going to do now with that in mind, the lineups are going to be announced in about 5 minutes. I'm going to bring in the next 2 panelists here this evening. So I'm going to bring in, first of all, Mr. Mark Biggs from All for United.
Hello, mate.
First of all, how are you going, Mark?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing, guys? All right.
How's your hangover?
Good.
How's the hangover, Mark? You recovered?
A couple of things, actually, that you spoke about. I think with Rashford, it is a bit of a risk, but I'd like to think that the coaching and management know enough to hopefully not play him if he's not 100%. Now, you're right with Pogba and the injuries we had last year, but you got to remember we were 5 or 6 players shorter. So hopefully now we've got the squad depth, which we do, to be able to cater for this. So I think that if Rashford really wasn't capable of playing today, he probably wouldn't be put in. So I think Ollie and him have probably had a word. He feels he's fit enough, and hopefully that'll be the case. And I hope he doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And also joining us as well is Mr. Greg Chambers. How are you this evening, Greg?
Yeah, not too bad. I think Tottenham might have just equalised, but I'm not sure. I might be ruled out for VAR, but I'm doing not bad. I'm a bit nervous about tonight. More nervous than I should be about a game versus West Ham, but
who scored?
That's the fun of being a Man United fan this season. You get to be nervous for teams like that, and then you feel a bit confident going into Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, all that lot.
Standard.
So, like, obviously, guys, with the starting lineups are just about to be announced, within kind of the next kind of 4 minutes, and lineups will be out at 6:15. So, I suppose just before the lineups and just get announced, I'm just going to come to here on the panel at the moment, so I'm going to come to the two boys first down below, give us because we didn't do this on the preview the other night on the show, and give us your starting 11 prediction. Greg, coming to you first.
It'll be Henderson in goal, and Death and Taxes will be at centre backs. It'll be Maguire and Lindelof. It'll be Sean, Wan-Bissaka. It'll be Fred, McTominay and Bruno, and then probably James, Greenwood and Rashford. Ideally, you don't want to start Rashford, but I will say on Thursday night when Rashford didn't play, and in previous instances where Rashford doesn't play, our team looks so bereft of ideas. We don't have anyone making the runs in behind or going out wide, and then everything just gets funneled through the centre. And it was so easy for AC Milan to defend on Thursday because they knew where it was going. It was going to Bruno's feet, and it was getting chipped in behind. It wasn't going out wide. There wasn't someone to try and take them on or cut inside or anything like that. So as much as we don't want Rashford to play, right now he has to play because there's no balance in this side where there's no one on the right-hand side to take that pressure off him. Greenwood's a good player, but he's not a right winger. And Dan James just doesn't quite cut it at that level. So as much as we don't want Rashford to play, I think he has to play if we want to get anything out of this game. Otherwise, West Ham could tear us apart because they're a well-organised side. Souček will dominate that midfield battle. It'll be really up to McTominay to sort of do his and Fred's job as well. So we'll see. But I think Rashford has to play as much as we don't want him to.
Mark, and starting 11 you want to see?
Yeah, Greg, did you read my notes beforehand, mate? Because they were exactly the same. I think because we saw Bailly and Maguire against AC, I think we'll probably see Lindelof and Maguire tonight. Same fullbacks, and I think you're absolutely right. And really, that's not a great problem to have. We do, apart from Bruno and Pogba, we do rely upon Rashford a lot. And I think if he is available, he will start. He definitely gives us. You said it earlier, Rachel, you hit it on the head that his decision-making is the only thing he really needs to improve upon in order to become world-class. And whilst he does do that and can frustrate us at times, he is one of our best players and can do something for nothing. And I feel that that's probably the difference between him and Martial. So, exactly the same, buddy. I'd like to see Ahmad again. I thought obviously he came on, gave us a little bit of pace, very exciting. You don't want to overplay him too much. And obviously, as soon as anything does go negative against him, our fan base, it will be hugely detrimental to him. So, but if he starts, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'd like to see Greenwood start, and I think probably you'll see Rashford too, if he is fit.
Rach, do you have anything different there? Do you think do we see Amad Diallo get a game today?
When I was on with the girls earlier in the week, I actually did say that I thought that Ahmad would start ahead of Rashford, but obviously things change on a daily with United, and we didn't really know if he was fit. I would like to see Rashford get a little bit of a rest, and then hopefully we don't need him, but if we do need him, then he can maybe come on if he's not 100%. But like you said earlier, the player knows in themselves if they're fit or not. So if he feels like he's 100% fit, then throw him in. If he gets injured again.
So, and on that note, I'm going to give the lineup there now. Dean Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Lindelof, Maguire, Luke Shaw at left back, Fred, Shane's favourite midfield pivot, Dan James in the right, Bruno Fernandes in the 10, Greenwood up front, Marcus Rashford starts left-hand side of midfield. So
And
Marcus
Mike predicted
Rashford
11.
starts.
Yeah,
I was about to come to but the lineup literally came up, and the headlines on Twitter read,
I think we're all in
Rashford
agreement on it.
start.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of thinking the same 11. I think the only decision would have been if Rashford was fit enough to start, would it be him or Diallo? But I think apart from that, the whole team picked itself.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing some of the, like, when you look at the team shape. When you look at the team shape, guys, I'm looking at a couple of teams that just been announced, and people are saying that Rashford is the striker today, which is interesting because I'd like to think Mason Greenwood would have been the number 9 today.
I'd imagine Greenwood is the 9 because that is the same team he went to against Chelsea, I think. And I remember against Chelsea, I thought Rashford was going to be the striker, so I was kind of surprised he trusted Greenwood up front against Chelsea. So because of that, I'd imagine he'll be probably playing up front today again. Hopefully, I think.
And Mark, just coming to you there, just obviously, like, you see the inclusion now again of Scott McTominay and Fred. Like, the Nemanja Matic got a chance Thursday night against West Ham, and we've gone for Matic to come in instead of one of McTominay or Fred. Looks like he's finished. Fred looks like he's starting beside McTominay. What do you make of that midfield partnership starting today against a very good midfield in Soucek and Declan Rice?
Yeah, I think at least most of you will know Scott and Fred aren't my favourite pairing, but they seem to be chosen in this big games. And I'm not surprised by that. I think, unfortunately, we do take 2 players up for one person, and that's just the way that Ollie's going to roll until he gets a defensive midfielder. And I think when you are playing against a side that's in form, bearing in mind, we only beat them in the FA Cup a few weeks ago. And that will probably be firmly in their minds as well. But I think that I'm not surprised by those 2. And I think that that's going to be an ongoing thing in big games until we get that defensive midfielder. Unfortunately, as I said to you the other night as well, Keane, Matic, unfortunately, whilst he was one of our key players last season, has probably lost it a little bit now, which is a real shame. And if we go for a defensive midfielder, we need to get another Matic, but 5 years younger.
Yeah, that's the thing. And the man that's starting defensive midfield for West Ham today is probably someone that we should be looking at in Declan Rice.
What annoys me...
Sorry?
What annoys me about McFred is that, like, McTominay is at his best as a box-to-box, but when he plays beside Fred, he can't do that because Fred's position is not that of a DM. Oh, fuck, Spurs almost scored. Sorry. That's not the position of a DM, so that McTominay can't go. Like, McTominay, the 2 of them have to sit deep because both of them are trying to cover for the other because none of them actually, like, know where to be, if that makes sense. None of them play like a defensive midfielder.
I think I do agree with you, Shane. I think McTominay's defensive awareness isn't particularly good, and we've seen that many times. So he pushes forward now, and he is definitely a box-to-box. I think we've now found his best position, but I think you're right that Fred, because he's not really a lone DM, he's not got that defensive awareness, he's not got the passing capability, and he can't progress the forward, which is what we're looking for in a DM like Matic can. That's why McTominay, they do kind of work well together, but as I said to you, it's a waste of a position because you're using 2 players where you can just have one, and that's a real problem. But you're absolutely right.
But that's why we struggle to score in the big games then, because the 2 of them are so deep. You're having 2, like what you're saying, there's 2 players playing one position. So you're completely sacrificing, like, any forward runs from the middle. And I think, like, it does make us solid because you just have 2 midfielders sitting there, but we give up too much going forward when we do play the both up.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like, when you look at, like, last Sunday, I'll just take for example when Bruno actually slotted in as that 3rd midfielder against City, and Martial played up top. Martial got to run into so many spaces last week that he wouldn't have usually been in. And I think Bruno might have, like looking at obviously West Ham's midfield today, Bruno might have to drop a bit deeper again today to obviously get the ball, because it's going to be an interesting midfield battle in there today. Because, like, Rice and Soucek are really good, and they win the ball. Yeah, and Mark Noble's playing again today, so Greenwood might send them back to 1876 again.
I agree with you. I think it is going to be the battle of midfield, and it tends to be in these games. But I think that's probably another reason why Scott and Fred have been chosen, because they have that energy to try and close them both down very quickly. So I think that's probably another reason why he's gone with them today.
Absolutely. Rach, you look at the goalkeeping situation today. Dean Henderson is starting today. David De Gea has really just come back from Spain. He's just come back from quarantine. Again, it's well documented. Dean Henderson's kind of mistake for the equaliser for AC Milan on Thursday night. Do you think now, with this being a crucial game, the top four race, that this is a chance now for Dean Henderson to right the wrong of Thursday night and obviously give Ollie kind of a very big thing to think about, considering with the big game coming up against AC Milan this coming Thursday?
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper situation it's a bit of a touchy one, because you've got people who are prime, like they're all the way in David De Gea's corner, and then you've got your Hendersons who think De Gea's finished. They both have mistakes in them. We've seen tons of mistakes from De Gea this season, and we've also seen the mistakes from Henderson as well. Thursday night being one of the examples. But look, they're both top keepers, and we're so lucky to have that depth, at least in that position, where I wouldn't feel like less like disadvantaged if we had Henderson if De Gea was injured, or vice versa. They're both very, very good keepers. They've both got very different attributes as well. David's good with his feet, whereas Henderson, I think, is a bit more commanding, and he has that better communication with Maguire and Lindelof, especially. I think there was a comment earlier from Ollie that said there's no secured number one spot at United. You have to earn it. So maybe it is time now for Henderson to really step up and show that he can put mistakes behind him and not let that linger in his head, because he did it as well for Sheffield United when he made that mistake against Sheffield United that gave them their first goal. He kind of let it fester a little bit. So he needs to not do that, and he needs to kick on and just put it behind him. Mistakes happen to the best of us, and go out there and put in a good performance and hopefully a clean sheet, which would be great.
Yeah. Mark, it's going to come. You wanted to come in there with something just with regards to the goalkeeping situation.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Rachel. Ollie's words that he came out with are probably aimed at Henderson. I think he has got in the back of his mind that Henderson is going to be the number one. I've been saying this for months now. I feel, unfortunately, David De Gea started very, very young. And like we see with Wayne Rooney and other youngsters that have come in and started very early, they tend to burn out very quickly. And unfortunately, whilst he's been phenomenal for years, he's been going downhill now for a couple, right? But with Henderson, he commands the back two far better. I think that you can naturally see when Harry and Lindelof or whoever that may be are sitting in front of Henderson, because he's far more vocal. They just naturally work a little bit better, and they're a lot more calm. I think you can see that. I think his distribution is actually probably better than David De Gea's, and I think that David De Gea's actually is a bit underrated. I think it's actually okay. And I feel that, when you've been at a club like Sheffield United, and this is no disrespect to them, he conceded less goals than David De Gea last season at Sheffield United, where they're going to be attacking, having lots of shots. So that says it all to me. And I think that just proves that obviously he's a very good shot stopper. He's very commanding. And I think it will be his time very soon to be able to take that spot.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah, I think look, it's kind of mad when you think about like the competition and the job, like the decision Ollie really has on his hands, because David De Gea, he's on £350,000 to £375,000 a week. That's a very big contract. That's a very lucrative contract.
Crazy contract.
It's
even at the time he got it.
Yeah, but you look at it now, it's a very big problem.
Yeah,
it's a big problem now, because obviously you look at the former Dean Henderson. He's playing well at the moment, and obviously he just had that one blip, whereas David De Gea has consistent blips in the last 18 months. So you have to say, if Dean Henderson continues continues to play well, then by all means, like Dean Henderson has to keep his place. And I think, today is a very big shout for Hendo to keep that position.
I think the one thing I will say is obviously keepers do make mistakes, and you will see some from Henderson, and it happens with every goalkeeper. Look at Alisson at the moment, and he's supposed to be the best in the league, okay? But one thing I will say about Henderson is whenever he has made a mistake, I think it was last time when he played against Sheffield United, our last game or the game before, the one we didn't lose, he made a mistake in that one, but he picked himself up. That's something that David De Gea cannot do. Listen, I am not anti-David De Gea. I think he's phenomenal. He has been, and he's got us out some difficult situations. However, I think that Henderson, as I said, he will pick him. He will pick himself back up when he makes those mistakes, and that's what you want in a keeper.
Yeah, what you need, especially being number one at Manchester United, you need character. Like, character is a big word. I know Roy Keane used that word a lot, but it's especially for a keeper, Manchester United, you have to have that. You have to have balls. And I think that's something David De Gea has lacked in the last 18 months. But Greg, just coming to you on the centre backs. Mikel Antonio is obviously starting up front for West Ham today. Obviously, very pacey striker. Joe, he's been playing fantastically well. For West Ham this season. Obviously, we're starting with Lindelof Maguire. They played very well last weekend against Manchester City, and actually dealt at Manchester City press very well last weekend. Are you concerned with West Ham's front three, like Lanzini and Antonio up there, considering well the centre backs actually played last weekend against Manchester City?
Yeah, I think the centre back surprised a lot of people against Man City. I think Pep was probably surprised as well that we played such a high line as we did, and the fact that we were so aggressive. As I said, obviously in the chat earlier on, I was talking that I would much rather Bailly was playing instead of Lindelof just to cope with Antonio, but that seems to be the issue we've got with Eric Bailly, that he can't play 2 games in a week. And I like Eric Bailly as much as any Man United fan, but is there a point really of him being there to play 1 game a week? Because we need a centre half that can play a lot of the time and a lot more than what Eric Bailly's done in the last couple of seasons. And I understand he's been injured, but it seems to be persistent injuries, and it seems to be, obviously it's a consequence of his style of play and the way he defends and the way he throws himself around, and he's quite likely to get injured. And there's obviously talk about a new contract, and if we were giving Bailly a new contract, then surely there has to be some guarantees that the club believe they can keep him fit for a long amount of time. But I would much rather he was playing today instead of Lindelof, just for that pace. Antonio's played really well. He tortured Alderweireld against Spurs a couple of weeks ago as well. And they're not dissimilar types of players in terms of pace and just the way they sort of position themselves. Alderweireld's obviously much better than Lindelof, but just I think maybe with Henderson being there, then the position of centre backs will give us will be better. So therefore, we'll have a little bit more of a chance. But I think if West Ham catches on a break, that ball in behind and running it at Lindelof could be really difficult. I think maybe Wan-Bissaka might not go as far forward today as well. Maybe with that in mind, if he sort of sits maybe just over the halfway line or doesn't quite overlap as much. Of course, we'll focus play down the left anyway with Rashford, but if he doesn't overlap quite as much, then we might be able to stop their getting counter-attacks by Wan-Bissaka coming back and sort of covering for Lindelof. But I would much rather Bailly played. I think we need 1, if not 2 centre-halves in the summer. I know we're not going to get 2, but we definitely need 1 to come in and play.
We're lucky to get 1, I think, with the board. With the way the board are with all the things that are coming out of the club, I think we're going to be lucky to maybe even get maybe 1 marquee signing and probably a right winger. I think it's
strange. I think it's really strange with our fan base because we're Man United and because we spend loads of money and everything like that. We seem to think, every one of our fan base seems to think, or a lot of our fan base seem to think that for us to get a good player and for us to have a good transfer window, we need to go and buy a player of over 70, 80 million pounds, and you just don't. Like, Leicester got a free run last season at Wesley Fofana, and he's been unbelievable. If Man United had signed him for that price, that would have been an absolute bargain. There's bargains all over Europe, but it seems to be 2 or 3 names that people are just stuck on. Like, that had to be Upamecano. Like, oh well, he's gone to Bayern. Oh well, Man United aren't getting a centre half. Like,
he's shit anyway.
Players are in.
I think
I
think these days fans
he's not great.
Tend to get lost in the transfer window. I can understand
like
it because you do get very exciting.
You don't have to spend 200 million to have a quality window.
No, you're absolutely right.
Go and spend 100 million and get 3 players that would contribute.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
think
absolutely right.
I think
what we've seen over the last few years is that since Ollie's come in and the restructure and the rebuild and the recruitment has been far better. So whilst we may see in the papers Sancho this or Declan Rice or whoever that may be, it might not be those players, but we have to put trust into the players that they do bring in, and hopefully we will get value for money and get some, unearthed gems.
I mean, you've only got to look at Bruno Fernandes.
Go on, mate.
Sorry, you've only got to look at Bruno Fernandes, like only 45 million? And I know that we were hyping him up and that there was good reputation behind him already, but 45 million for Bruno Fernandes now is an absolute bargain.
Yeah, you would triple that.
Exactly. You would easily triple that.
Got Fred for 52.
Literally.
It's ridiculous. And I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago that I think since Ollie's come in, there's been a lot more, like he started to show a bit more shrewdness in the market. Doing things last season with the Reguilon deal, not accepting it because it had a buyback clause. Not paying what Dortmund wanted, not just listening to what they wanted and paying it straight up front. Okay, yeah, we're going to pay for it in the long run, but you need to set this precedent to clubs that we're not just going to pay what they want us to pay. But Leicester completely did that with Maguire, and now everyone thinks that whatever they quote Man United, that's what we're going to pay. So
I think actually they were quite shrewd there and made the right choices, and I think that will be positive.
Yeah, I think 100%. Even Ollie's comments a few weeks ago saying about that we won't spend big in the summer, and I've seen reports about we're going to be priced out of a move for Haaland. I think the club are really trying to put it out there that we don't have as much money as that we do, so we don't get taken for as much a ride in the summer, which is good because it's been happening a lot, way too much the last couple of years. Like we've been getting stung for a couple of players, so once we stop having to overspend on players, that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and there's bargains to be had. Like the French league is going to be just chucking players out the door this summer because the French league is in absolute turmoil. It's lost nearly £2 billion €2 billion this season.
Yeah.
Players like Camavinga are going to be available for about 40 million. Like,
it's
quality players out there.
At United annoys me because there's so many situations where there's reports where United have scouted this player and they've scouted that player, and they're like afraid to take the risk, and they're going to another club, and then a year, like you were saying about Fofana, that he went to Leicester for, I'm not sure what the price was, but I don't think it was that much. And now United, and now United are kind of, people are saying United to sign him just a year later, and if United were to win for him, it would probably be close to like 100 million. Do you know what I mean? We're scouting these players and we're way too reluctant to take the risk, and then a few months down the line we're saying, oh, we actually do want them, but now it's, they're costing double or triple the price. Do you know what I mean? It was the same with Maguire. Mourinho wanted him, and I think for what was it, 60 million. The board said no.
50.
We waited a year, had to go 50 million. Board said no. We went back in a year's time, 80 million. Do you know? So it's mad. It's like we're too reluctant.
All over, though.
Yeah, we're too reluctant to pull the trigger sometimes. But then I don't know, because then we have overspent on some players that we shouldn't have. So I don't know.
I think a case where the board believed in what Ollie wanted to do and a transfer that Ollie wanted was Dan James, because that's clearly a player that Ollie wanted. A player that needed to come in and everything like that. And he was a championship player, and he wasn't a flashy player, and he wasn't 70 million. He wasn't scoring goals left, right, and centre. He was a good player. He had good numbers in a league below, and Ollie thought he could make the step up to be a squad player. And I think Dan James gets a lot of flack because when we got him, his first season, he was starting games of football. He was at least 18 months ahead of where he should have been. In terms of that being a Man United squad player, I think he will be good enough to be a squad player. You need players like that in a successful team, and he's good, and he works hard as well. I think he will come good, but people need to be a lot more patient. When you can't have it both ways. You're either going to sign these players and allow them to grow for much cheaper, or we're going to have to splash 100+ million to get the ready-made talent, and we're not going to go out and find a Van Dijk this summer. There's not 100 Van Dijks. Centre halves here, there are ones that are going to improve our team. There's some in the Premier League that would improve our team. Watching Lewis Dunk today, I was like, Lewis Dunk's a better defender than Victor Lindelof. Like 100% is. His positioning, his ball play, and he's much better.
Yeah,
I'm obviously not saying go get him, but there's going to be players of that quality all about the place.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like for a club with United's resources, we're so fucking dumb. Do you know what I mean? Like instead of like you look at someone like Leicester and Southampton, and their scouting network is just set up so much better than everyone else in the league. They're constantly signing these players for peanuts and selling them then for a massive profit. Where United just, I don't know if their scouts are saying to the board and Ollie to get these guys, and they're not trusting the scouts, or is our scouting?
I'll give you two words. I'll give you two words. Ed Woodward. It's all down to Ed Woodward.
Well. Matt Judge. I'll give you two more.
Matt Judge.
The guy that has his phone on.
4 words. Ed Woodward, Matt Judge.
Literally.
I'm more inclined to blame Matt Judge then. Well, I was going to say I'm more inclined to blame Judge than Woodward, but Judge works for Woodward. You know, that's how business works. The buck stops at Woodward. Yeah. So, you know, that's just how business works.
Woodward's the money man. Woodward decides who comes in. Like, in terms of if we're going to spend the money on the player, Woodward doesn't make the decision on which player we're going to get. That's Matt Judge working with Ollie. So when Ollie last year, obviously you've heard the story where he wanted Grealish. And Matt Judge phoned Edwin van der Sar to get that
I think Ollie has complete control over what players he wants to bring out. I don't think players are... Well, I know I say that, but then I think Van de Beek could have been forced. I think with Van de Beek, it was very much he wanted Grealish, and you know, we were priced out and moved for Grealish, and he was just an alternative, which is weird because they're two completely different players. But I think Woodward, for the most part, does have complete control over what players want to bring in, and it's more so Matt Judge either just being incapable of bringing a player in, or we just don't want to overpay. Fair. I was frustrated. I really wanted us to sign Sancho last summer, and I was frustrated when it didn't happen. But I did all summer. I did say that if we don't want to pay 100 million for it, I get that. That's fair enough. But what's frustrating was it went to deadline day and we didn't have a backup, or even just a stopgap. Do you know what I mean?
That's literally what I was about to say. Couldn't spell negotiate, let alone do it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I don't want to jinx it, but it's looking like that we're going to go back in for Sancho this summer, and we could get him less for what we would have gotten for last summer. And if that is the case, then you have to say that's good for Woodward. You know, we didn't get stung for him last year, went back in for him a year and got him for less, which is good. You know, especially if it turns out we finish second or third. You know, we didn't sacrifice much throughout the year for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that's just one example of where you can defend them. You know, for one example where you can defend them that they've done the job, there's 5-6 examples where they just fumbled it. You know, and made a meal of it.
100%.
You know, so
do you want to? I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I know devil's advocate's the name of the show, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate here now. With regard to the situation, let's say they do go out and they do buy Sancho last summer, and look at the stupid points we dropped this year against the West Broms, the Sheffield Uniteds, the likes of them games, Palace as well. Like,
I don't think Sancho changes that.
We're in a title race.
Yeah, but I don't think Sancho's the difference in those games. The difference in those games is a lack of creativity, a lack of anything from midfield. Giving up.
But Sancho creates
goals
chances
from set pieces.
He takes the ball, he takes on players.
I do think Sancho would like change
he doesn't
a
stop
lot.
The goals from set pieces.
Yeah, like I do think Sancho would change a lot because I think right wing is one of the biggest issues. So I didn't think he would have changed a lot, but I still think there's other holes in the squad that we would have still given up points in. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to say you add this player and hypothetically he would have changed this result and that result, but you know, it's not exactly how football works either, you know, because you're still gonna drop points in other games. But I do agree, obviously, if we got Sancho last summer, of course it would have benefited us loads this season. Do you know what I mean? But I still do think it wouldn't have completely changed the season where it would have been challenging, but obviously it would have been better. Do you know
I don't think we'd be near City. I think City are too far ahead just now. I don't think Sancho changes that word.
Obviously, I think we'd be closer, but
in our squad, I think we'd be at least 6 points better off this season. At least 6.
Yeah,
better off when you consider
that.
But you drop points this season and you haven't created chances.
I agree with that, but I just think like this team probably won't do anything serious until we get a DM, because a DM like hurts us in so many ways on the field, because it's so important, like, to the way we want to play. We need a DM that's comfortable picking up the ball from the back four, so we can play out from the back consistently over 90 minutes, and just defensively, because there's so many times where like we are getting better at press, but we're still not ideal at it. So people are still kind of pressing by themselves and doing it when they shouldn't be, and it's kind of still disjointed. So that's how we get the midfield gets played through so easily, So Sancho obviously it would have made a big difference, but I do think this team isn't going to do anything really serious until we get at the end, because it plugs so many holes in the team. I think once you get a right wing and a DM in the team, you have a bulk of a really good 11 there. And then you can start to add things to gloss it up. Like you can add a right back that's better going forward, or then you can start tweaking little things. But I think they're the two biggest. So even a centre half as well is also an issue, obviously. But I do think a centre half helps them an awful lot. Like I think it's underrated how big of a difference the DM would make for us defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. And just coming back to the game, obviously, though, that's kind of the reason why we're here this evening. Obviously, it's the big game and kicking off in just over a half an hour against West Ham. Mark Noble, I just alluded to earlier on, is starting today. And Mason Greenwood took him back to 1876 in the FA Cup game at Old Trafford earlier on this season. Obviously, Jesse Lingard being their most informed player, Mark Noble's coming in place of him. I think we can all agree that we're all very happy that Jesse Lingard isn't playing this game today, because I think it would have been written in the stars that Jesse would have scored. Would have scored against us. I think we all would have been sitting here. We all would have been sitting here absolutely shitting ourselves, seeing if anytime Lingard would have gotten knocks. In that regard. But just before I get the score predictions, I just want to give a massive shout out to 10th place Arsenal for securing their 40 points this season. They're officially going up, and they've absolutely helped United in the race for the Champions League. So a shout out to the Gooners, Though thanks very much, Mikel Arteta, helping us out in our endeavours for Champions League football. They did. From what I've seen the game, they actually played quite well. Yeah. Fair play to them. And a derby's a derby.
Every dog has its day.
Every dog has its day. Absolutely. So thanks very much, Mikel Arteta. Yeah, you're probably gonna lose next week, and be shouting for him out again. But thanks very much for helping us put another nail in Jose Mourinho's proverbial coffin. But score predictions. Now, obviously, we had predictions on this show literally a couple of nights ago, and we all weren't too optimistic. Now, Marcus Rashford's been included in the team. Now we're half an hour away from kickoff. Optimism might be after going up. And so I'm going to come to each one of the guests here with the score predictions, starting with Greg. Greg, what are you predicting for this game?
I really don't know. I would honestly be hoping for a draw. I think it will be a draw. I hope not a 0-0 draw. I cannot see the day we would go out to draw 0-0 with West Ham. I still can't do that. I think 1-1, to be honest. I think 1-1. I think they might score early and we'll come back second half a bit more rejuvenated. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
I think it'll be the exact same as
1-1
the fixture last year. So I think they'll just end up playing out the same way, to be honest.
So running out the same way. Shane's thinking. Mark, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, firstly, I just want to apologise. My PC was on its knees, but I've sorted it now, so here I am. Better late than never. I said the other night on Friday that it would be a draw, but now that I've seen Rashford's name on the team sheet, I'm a little bit more confident, I think. Not that he's been in the best of form, but I just think he might get something here and there. So I said 1-1 the other night, but I'm not going to copy Greg again. So I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1. So we've got 1-1, a 2-1. Shane's going to say score season. Rach, are you feeling optimistic?
Always. You know me, Keane. I'm always positive. I have to be. Like, there's so much negativity in the world, and especially with United. Like, there's so much negativity that what's the point? So yeah, fuck it. I'm going 3-0 United.
Oh.
Great is going straight in with a 3-0 win.
Always got to be positive.
It's lovely to see that one of us is being optimistic here today. Amy's in the house in the comments. Amy says a 1-0 Manchester United win with a Bruno Fernandes penalty. I like your thinking, Amy. Rory is also in the comments. Rory has said 4-0 Manchester United. So we have some more 4-1 Manchester United. So someone even more optimistic than Rach.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm
Tell me the one thing.
It's the late kickoff, man. I'm waiting for it all day. I'm overthinking things like.
Everyone watches it and like, it's just.
Yeah, I'm fucking nervous.
What a waste of time waiting.
Yeah, we suck at home as well. I think we'll get a Bruno penalty. I don't think I've ever predicted.
Go on, Shane. I want to get a concrete score prediction from you, Shane. I know you're absolutely your bum is flapping. Go on, give us a score prediction there, Shane.
1-0 United. My heart got the best.
1-0 United.
1-0 United.
Where is the positivity here?
That's 3 points.
I'm about to deliver more positivity here. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Manchester United win. I'm going to go with also Bruno Fernandes scoring, but not from the penalty spot. And I'm going to go with, just because he shouldn't be playing today, I'm going to go with Mr. Marcus Rashford also getting on the score sheet. And just for the crack, I suppose, who will score for West Ham? Sure, we'll say Thomas Soucek.
Soucek from a corner.
Yeah, Soucek from a corner, because we love conceding set piece and making life hard for ourselves. But we go 2-1.
I'm absolutely fed up of set piece, like conceding from a set piece.
I want to change my opinion.
I'm done. Like, let's do it today. No.
After you mentioned that, I do think it'll be 1-1 actually. That's what I think it'll finish 1-1.
I didn't have the battle.
I didn't have the battle.
Get your first answer.
Yeah, you just have to bottle it there now. So, but I'm going to go on, and everyone else has gone with their individual score lines. Let's hope at the end of the day Manchester United win, and we finish off a very weekend in terms of results for Manchester United this weekend. And obviously, that team in the unfalse position is playing tomorrow as well, so hopefully they get bet as well. Shout out to Jason McAteer on that block list. But anyway, thanks very much everyone for watching. Thanks very much everyone in the comments as well for your contribution here today. All our shows will be back next week. Three Devils and a Gooner back, so catch Rach over there. I am joined from the guys from the AC Milan fan channel this Tuesday, so check that out too. We'll be reviewing the Europa League game coming up this week, and also the London Lowdown will be back this week as well. I'm sure Steve will not want to talk about today's game, and I'm pretty much sure William will be dying to get on and to talk about the Arsenal game as well. So do tune in.
It actually kills me. The second they send me, I'm going into the chat and I'm going laying into.
But do check out them shows next week, and as most importantly as well, do like the video and do subscribe to the channel. Plenty of good content, plenty of good people on the channel. I do appreciate them all, and it's very, very good to get on with everyone each week. And look, they all smashed it as well on the other individual shows still on the Lowdown, Three Devils and the Gooner. So do check that out. Look, that's it wrapped up for the pre-match show. I'm going to give everyone else just a chance to shout out their socials as to where you can catch them. So Shane, where can our viewers catch you?
Find me on Twitter at ShaneDowley97, please.
Yep, so you can catch Shane on Twitter, ShaneDowley97, for all your Paul Pogba propaganda weekly. To catch that over there, you can catch Shane over there for that. Rach, you're literally all over the place on YouTube. Where can our viewers find you?
You can catch me at Twitter on RachMUFC7. I'm also on She Devils United straight after the West Ham game for a live match reaction. Also on the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast with Amy and the 2 other girls for Three Devils and a Gooner. That's it, I think.
Yeah, so do check. And Rach, most importantly, yeah. So do check that out too. Mark, where can our viewers catch you on social media and YouTube?
At Mark Biggs, quite easy. And I'm glad Rach did a plug there, because I'm going to say that after the game we're doing 1-1 for United as well. So come on over and have a look at that. I think we've got Phil.
Come over here.
No. We got Phil Brown, Bits and Bobs, me, Karthik, and some others. Good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, so if you want whichever one you want, completely up to you. Lots of Man United content flying around everywhere. Hopefully it's a good result. Greg, you do a bit of writing yourself as well. So do you want to shout that out and share where our viewers can catch you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Greg_D_Chambers. And I also do a little bit of writing for All for United. Just tend to do it every week, just talking about different things to do with Man United, whether it's transfers, opinions on players, the way the team is, anything like that. So go over there, have a read, some really good articles there as well.
He's one of our best writers.
Yeah,
Greg.
So do check out.
Nice.
So do check out Greg over there also. And look, as you can see me just in my Twitter handle right there, Keane_Franey on Twitter. And also obviously catch me here on the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast on more or less every show. And if you want to get some dodgy football opinions and some Bruno Fernandes propaganda on Twitter, do give me a follow. But that's it. We're out here on Devil's Advocate, and let's hope Manchester United win this game, and we get them 3 points on our road to clinching that second place. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.